Got a story for you then about my flying days on the Hawk T1. This is going back probably to about 2010. Now, back then I was at RAF Valley on a squadron called 208 Squadron, and I was teaching advanced flying training. So I teach all the stalls, the spins, all that kind of stuff. And then after where I was teaching on that squadron, they go on to another squadron called 19, and they'd be taught by guys, this story's about all these guys, and they would learn to do all the weapons stuff, all the tactical stuff, TAC weapons. I teach both of that now in my school because I did end up teaching TAC weapons on the Hawk T2. But this story is about this guy. People will know who this is. Now, this is the course before these guys go to the front line. So they've got to be good, and the students are actually, at this stage, the students are really good, okay, really good. So expect a lot from them, challenge them, and they normally deliver. As I said, they're good. You have a relationship with these students, they're good students, because they're just like you, but you're just 3 years ahead of them normally. So, you know, it's pretty cool. But this one day, my mate who was on this TAC weapons squadron was taking a student for a sortie. An assessed trip. The student was in one airplane, my mate was in another airplane, and they were flying something called a simulated attack profile. So pairs, low level, simulated attack profile, time on target. They were going to hit a target in mid-Wales, plus or minus 4 seconds. Now the issue is that the weather wasn't great. It's not easy to do. In the Hawk T1, it's really hard because all you have is a map that you've drawn yourself, a compass, and a stopwatch. And you've got to navigate yourself around for 20-30 minutes, end up on a target, hit that target, and then come home. Hard. And in this particular case, sometimes the instructor leads the student, but in this case, the student was leading the instructor, making it even harder. And the weather wasn't great. So what happened? They're flying, and the student's not doing that well. The weather's poor, he's making mistakes. And so my instructor friend says to him, do you know where you are? Remember, they're in different airplanes. They're a mile apart, going in the same direction, 500 miles an hour, 250 feet. He says, mate, do you know where you are? Looks across at him, mate, do you know where you are? The student's looking at his map, looking at the time, looking at the heading, and he looks back and went, yeah, I think I know I am. Yeah, I'm all right. Okay, another 5 minutes goes past. My mate looks at the other guy again and says, mate, do you know where you are? The student's looking at the map again, looks back at him, yeah, I think, yeah, I'm pretty cool. Anyway, they get more and more lost. Oh, this is awesome. They get more and more lost. I better turn around, I suppose. And then I'm down by the river here, down River Y. And then eventually my mate turns around to this student again. He's a bit angry now, my mate. So instructors don't get angry, but the problem is this student's having a bad day. And the problem is students can have bad days. Instructors can sometimes have bad days too. But what is rare is an instructor and a student having a bad day together. So my mate looks across now, and he hasn't done what instructors should do, which is nip it in the bud early, nudge the guy, help him out. He hasn't done that. He's got himself more frustrated, my instructor mate. And so he looks across at the guy, to the student, and he says, mate, do you know where you are? Do you know where you are? That actually sounds like him. Mate, do you know where you are? And the student turns around and he says, no, I don't. Actually, I'm a bit lost. And so people will know this story. The instructor looks across at him and says, well, you fucked it. You unfuck it. And with that, he pulls up 10,000 feet over the top, heads back to RAF Valley in North Wales, lands his jet, leaves the student in mid-Wales. Leaves the student. Like you never leave the student. He leaves the student in mid-Wales. Whew, that's crazy. So when the instructor gets back to the ops room, sign the jet in, people are like, where's your student, mate? Where's your student? And the instructor says, I left him in mid-Wales. Everyone's like, oh, okay. Sign the jet in there, mate. The instructor, face of thunder, goes upstairs, gets himself a cup of tea, sits down in the crew with a magazine, waiting for the student to come home. And 20 minutes later, the student does come home. And people in the ops room are like, all right, mate, where you been then? The student is like, yeah, I was, my instructor left me. All right, mate, so why did your instructor leave you then, mate? Why did he leave you? Because I got a bit lost in mid-Wales. Oh, what did the instructor say, mate? He said, you fucked it, you unfuck it, and then he flew home. So, lad, I felt really sorry for the student, but the student's a cool dude. So that happened. There's a lesson there, by the way. And they got back, they had a debrief, everything's cool. I was in the bar that night getting my rage on like everyone else did. And I heard that story and I knew who the instructor was straight away. I knew who it was. He's like a frontline dude like I was. I enjoyed the front line, getting trapped in flying training. I teach all these lessons now in my school, of course, but this is brilliant. There's a lesson here. So what he's saying is basically to his student is, look, you fucked it, mate. You unfuck it. Like, you're responsible for this. Now take responsibility for it and sort it out, mate, sort it out. I think it's a lesson for life there, isn't it? Because we used to, as men, of course, if you got a mate who was getting a little bit fat or something, you go, who ate all the pies that make you eat, like that. And we never do it anymore, do we? We never do it. We just kind of, we're worried about offending people. I'm not, by the way. I'll do it. I'll do it to my guys in my school. I've never seen a single face, but I do it to my guys in the school. If I tell them to do something and they agree they're going to do it and they don't do it, get both barrels. That's what it's about. It's about accountability. That's what I'm about. Life is too short not to be accountable to other men. Truth. So that is a problem. And so he was doing that. He sorted himself out and had a good debrief, and that was it. But there's the thing to think about. There's the thing to think about. So what are you responsible for that you're trying to put on other people? Maybe there's quite a lot. I don't know. It's your life. Maybe you're overweight. Maybe you've got a poor relationship. Maybe you've got a good relationship, but it's one with drugs or alcohol. Mine was. So if you fucked it, maybe you need to unfuck it. And if you want help in doing that, guys, then follow this channel by all means, because that's what I'm about here, about accountability. River Y on the right, sunflower field on the left here. I hope this helps, guys. I hope this drives some stuff in. You have a good weekend, all right? Talk soon.